What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As promised, we are going to look at the trailer. So a while back I built this off-road trailer. If you guys haven't seen the videos for that, there's a kind of a build series on the channel, so go check that out. It shows kind of getting it up to the previous rendition of this, before I had the tent on it and stuff. So basically just building the trailer itself, building the tongue, getting it lifted, all of that. So now it is kind of the next evolution of it, I guess you could say. So basically what this is, it's a 1975 Toyota pickup. I bought it, basically the back half of a pickup truck. They had cut it off right behind the cab and everything was still there: gas tank, fuel lines, brake lines, drive shaft, all that stuff. It was basically just chopped off up here. So what I did, I came in and chopped it off, built a tongue on it. I got the lock and roll tongue piece on there. You guys can go back and watch that video. It's a full video on the channel of building that tongue on there. I think I have 3 or 4 previous videos of building this thing on there. So this is kind of just going to be an update on where the trailer's at, because I get asked about it all the time on social media and stuff. So basically, it's lifted 33 1250s. Since that last video, I built these crossbars, which are real simple. It's just an 1.5 inch square tube, angle cut the ends, plated it, and then they sit on a piece of 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch angle, and that just bolts through the top lip of the bed. So it's like that on all 4, two rails that go all the way across, and they're just flat. I've seen several people do similar style where they come up and over. It gives you a little bit more access here. Personally, I don't necessarily need that. All my gear inside basically stays in totes whenever I'm on trips and stuff. So I do still have to wire up the tail lights. I'm going to wire up the factory tail lights instead of having these little magnetic trailer lights. But so far it's worked. I've been using this thing for several years now, I think. So it's been great so far. But got the 4x4 Colorado Alto Elite tent on here. I know there's been a lot of controversy lately over 4x4 Colorado and them shutting down and screwing a bunch of people over and all that. So I haven't had any issues with this tent. It's been great. So for right now, that's what's on here. If I get something better in the future, the only thing is I gotta have that king size bed in there with the family now. So yeah, Alto Elite. And then this is the Body Armor 270 awning, and I've built some custom brackets. So basically took some of the brackets that some of these tents come with and chopped them up and made my own brackets where it holds it at an angle. And the reason for that is when this tent opens up, if you notice, it's back from the side, so this isn't going to be dragging down through the woods and stuff. You know, it still gets some scratches and stuff on it because of limbs, but it's not hanging off the side where I'm going to drag it on anything. But being where it's at off the side here, when this tent opens up, it's at like a close to 45. It's like 43.5 or something degree angle. I'm sure whoever designed it was meant to be at 45, but anyways, I set it up, got the angle right with those brackets so that whenever it's up, it's at the right height, and you know, it's set back for going down the trail. So I'm going to open this thing up, open up the tent, open up the awning, let you guys check it out. And in this video, I'm also going to install a new awning. So I like this awning. It's done good for what it is. It's just a cheap, what I would consider entry-level awning, and it's supposed to be freestanding, but I would not call this a freestanding awning. Will it stay up on its own? Yes. Would I leave it standing up on its own and not be near it? Probably not, because the arms on it are, you know, basically just some little aluminum channel riveted into the end pieces and everything, and it's pretty flimsy, so I always put the legs down if I'm using it. So after we get this set up and show you guys the setup, we're going to install a new awning. This is the Openroad 270 Plus, and the folks over at Openroad reached out and wanted to send this to me to try it out, check it out, and let them know what I think. So it's going to be a little different than this awning. This is just the one on here. The body armor is just a normal 270. So basically it angles across here for the end and then wraps around the back side. So what this one will do, it'll not only wrap around the back, but it also comes out to the front of the trailer this direction. So this whole entire side over here will be covered, which will be awesome, because eventually I'm going to make me a table that sits here on the side of the trailer, and I always do all my cooking and everything on this side anyways. So I think it'll be perfect for the setup. And like I said, Openroad, they sent this to me for free, and I don't do a lot of the, I guess you would call it, you know, paid review type videos, and I still don't plan to. I've been looking at this awning for quite a while. Several of my buddies have the regular Openroad 270s, and they're pretty solid for the price, and that's actually what I planned on putting on this trailer. So whenever Openroad reached out, it just happened to be perfect, and so you guys will get to see that on my trailer. So yeah, let me get this thing opened up for you guys and we'll check it out. All right, got the awning set up, and as you guys can see, it's pulled down in that corner a little bit. It's not pulled around like I normally do. When the tent's all the way opened up, I've got a little hook point on there. So, but it is technically freestanding. You can open it up without the legs, but it's just thin aluminum channel, which this, I will say, this is built better than a lot of the ones that I've seen. It actually got nice plate corners, or pivot I should say, but all these arms are just riveted in to a little aluminum end piece, and you can see how thin that is. Like I said, it's done great so far. Never had an issue with it, and I have had it out in a couple storms with a little bit of wind, but I always had the legs and the lead ropes tied down. So it is a little floppy. So I know they all have a little bit of flop to them, but this one I would just not, I just wouldn't trust it out in the wind. Yeah, you know, just one of those things. Like, it does great as long as it's not windy. I'll just leave it at that. Definitely likes to flop around. So I'm going to pull this off, and we're going to get this Openroad awning switched out on here and check it out, let you guys see it. Like I said, I've got several buddies with the Openroad awnings, and I've been really impressed with them on their setup. So I'm gonna fold this back up, put the tent back down, and we're gonna swap this awning out and let you guys check it out. It's definitely a little heavier than the other awning. Really should have used a ratchet wrench for this. Would have made things a little faster. That easy. A little better look at the brackets that I made. For any of you guys who have one of these tents that opens at an angle, I just literally chopped up the bracket that the body armor awning came with and stuck them back together. So it's worked out great so far. So I'm hoping to just use those for this new awning as well. So let's see if they fit. All right, so first of all, this is all the stuff that comes with. You got 2 bags and 3 brackets, and then all this other stuff came in the bag. So you got your power adapter for the lights, your 2 straps that hold the wings back. You got some strapping for if you're using like a factory roof rack to mount this to, stakes, and a whole bunch of bolts. So these are your longer bolts, like if you're using a roof rack, whatever. They've got the little what do they call that, carriage bolt. So they got the little square go in these to go under your roof rack. And you got all of these, and these are your T-slot nuts. So this is what we need to figure out what we're going to use. Hi baby, what you doing? They've even included some wrenches in here, so if any of you guys don't have tools readily available and trying to install this thing, they even got you covered there. I got my helper out here with me now. She was in there causing a ruckus, so Mama said, outside you go. What do you think?
Me.
You trying to film for me? Maybe when you get a little older. All right, so I think this is the length I'm going to end up using. So if you guys haven't used T-slot nuts before, they just slide in the little recess here, and they just slide across the thing, and it's captured at that point. It can't go anywhere. So T-nuts are super cool. I like when companies use those on stuff. Most of these awning companies do that. So I'm gonna get this thing flipped over and see if we can get it mounted up. When you mount these up, it's kind of a guessing game as to how far forward or back you want to get it. This one's a little easier than a lot of them because I know the back of the trailer is right here, so want to get it kind of as far forward as I possibly can, and then we'll adjust it from there. All right, yeah, I think we'll be able to leave it mounted same spot as the other one, because these bolts are what I was trying to avoid, but that's all the way down and looks like it's gonna be fine. So I am going to push this forward just a hair, keep it kind of even with the back of the trailer. That way we're not too far, we don't want too much of a gap here. That way if it's raining, it'll keep stuff from going over the trailer. So what are you doing, Doodle? Sticking stuff in the taillight hole? All right, get this thing all mounted up and ready to open her up and check her out. So I will say this one is a good bit heavier than the body armor, which I was expecting. I think they say this thing's like 70 pounds. I don't remember how much the body armor weighs, but it's all aluminum and stuff, so it's a good bit less weight, probably getting down close to half the weight, but it's no big deal. Trailer can handle it. Tent's already heavy enough, so mounted right up to my brackets I made for the other one. So yeah, I'm gonna open the tent back up and we'll pull this awning out and check it out. All right, guys, it is a couple days later because I went to edit the video and realized since the sun was going down, my video was real dark and I wasn't happy with it. So we're gonna show this thing to you guys again. I've got it all set back up out here, and I also went ahead and set the tent all the way up so y'all can see that. But yeah, this awning is pretty sweet. So like I said, it's got the wing that comes out to the front, which will be real nice. I will say one thing about this, just so you know in advance, the ties that they give you for the wings, they're not very long. So this is actually just a motorcycle strap that I used with my old awning. Theirs are probably, I don't know, 4 feet long, and it only reached about here. And this is about the best point I had to tie it back to, since this is like the tongue end of the trailer and not a lot to tie it to up here. So, but that works good. Just the strap it came with is only like 4 feet long, so be prepared for that. Most cases that'll probably work fine. So yeah, I'm really impressed with this awning. The arms are pretty stiff. I mean, that's about all the movement they've got right there. Honestly, if I was a little bit lighter, I bet you I could probably hang on this, because these are beefy. It's all triangulated. So nice beefy joints on the ends here. They give you a little bag that hangs down here. I don't know if I'll really use that for anything. Maybe, we'll see. You can slide it back and forth on the bottom channel here. Nice thick straps for holding it up in there when you go to pack it up. You can kind of see the triangulation here. It's got the little kickstands here for the top. It's got that on every other arm. Just kind of gives a little more angle for water to run off, which will be nice. And that being said, whenever I built these brackets, the other awning was, it almost like hung down because the arms had a little bit of play in them this way. So without the legs down, it kind of was at a little bit of a downward angle. So you didn't have any problem with water running off. But this one sits almost perfectly flat because that's how I built the brackets. So it's kind of hard to see in the video, but it sits basically perfectly flat, which is nice. So the little kickstands will help. And then here's the back side.
Daddy.
Are you playing in the dirt?
Yeah.
Dirt. It's got the zippers for if you get the walls to go with it, which I may invest in eventually. Got the Openroad logo on, I think, 2 sides, and then it comes all the way up to this side, and I think this is, I think it was like 6.5 feet wide or 6 feet wide, something like that. So trailer is not that wide, so it comes almost to the front of the tent, which is cool. And where I mounted this with the old awning, this arm comes right over my little window canopy. So got lucky there without having to adjust it up and down any, because the other one, the arm was only that thick and it sat right above it. So that'll work out nice. It touches just a little bit, but that's not a big deal. It just means it's nice and tight up here. I thought about pulling the awning up and then closing this gap a little bit, but it's already, I don't know, 3 inches from that strut there, so it'll probably work where it's at. So we have lights on the bottoms here, and I'll show you guys how to hook those up here in just a minute. That's pretty sweet, because I was just used like a little electric lantern underneath my old ones, and then you got the fold down legs. So yeah, honestly, with how beefy this is, if it's windy enough to have to use those legs, I'll probably just fold it in. But it's pretty stiff, way better than the old one. So let's show you guys the light feature. That's one thing about it being dark in my other video, I can dub in some of that footage because it was nice and dark and you could actually see the lights real good. Whenever they got power, this little blue light's here, and you can tap it. It's got amber, white, or a mixture of the two. Amber's kind of for, you know, if you don't want to deter the bugs a little bit, but white's nice and bright. All right, so this awning comes with a little harness for the lights. That's one thing that I'd say I'd prefer it to be kind of built in. Maybe just have a, like the USB plug that comes out of the awning itself and you can plug it in. But I get why they do it externally from an engineering standpoint, just because, you know, if you got it inside there and something breaks or whatever, it's a lot harder to fix. So it's got these little barrel connectors, and they just plug in to the bottom of the arms here. And this is the same harness that comes with the regular 270. So it's got 3 plugs for these 3 main arms. And then the plus, the harness has a little addition barrel connector here. So the plus has these extra arms over here. So it just has an extension harness that runs over and plugs in over there. And then you just plug it in over here. So you just got a cable run across. So no big deal. And like I said, it plugs in to the main harness. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Probably not. There we go. And then it's just powered by a USB plug. So you can plug this into a little power pack, or you know, if you're at home, you can plug it into like a USB wall outlet, like wall charger for a phone or whatever. Or you can plug it into your power station, whatever you want to do. So this will probably just get run off of my small power station. I've got a little small off-brand cheapie that I use to charge phones and stuff in the tent at night. So I've got the big power station that runs the fridge and charges GoPro batteries and all that stuff in the Jeep, and then the little one that easy to carry, it's like 2 pounds or something. Little small one's like 200 amp hours or something, or watt hours, and it gets carried back and forth to the tent. So, and it's actually small enough I can close the tent with it in there if we're like on a long trip or whatever. So it'll probably just get right in and plugged into that. Go ahead and show you guys the tent. This is the Colorado 4x4 Alto Elite. It's just shy of a king size bed, and it virtually goes from the front of this trailer, like flush with the front of the bed, all the way to just shy of flush with the tailgate. So perfect size for this trailer, just a little bit narrower by, I don't know, 3 inches or so on each side. So it's worked out really well. I know, like I said, I know a lot of people have complaints about Colorado 4x4 and people have had issues with them, whatever. I haven't had much of any issues with this tent. So I do have a couple little complaints, nothing crazy. So these clamps that hold this little bar out, they don't hold the bar out very well. So I'm about to look into options to replace those. And then I don't understand why tent manufacturers have started putting the doors folding down. My old tent, the old Tepui, just regular soft shell, you know, fold open tent, it had the door rolling up, which to me only makes sense. But this one just kind of gets in the way. So, you know, you're trying to climb up the ladder, it's hanging out. If it's hanging in, you know, you're sitting on it, wearing your screen out. And you can roll them up and they sit here, but then you're going across the roll of the door. So I like it whenever they roll upwards. So, and I understand the aspect of when this is up, you know, you can have it up with your vent open, or, you know, I've seen a lot of different arguments for that, but it's my preference for them to go up. But I've got the Colorado 4x4 specific air foam mattresses. I can't remember what to call these, cloud foam or something. It's got the condensation mat under here, which it's kind of pulled back. This is like a thin, flexible one. So whenever you close it, it likes to kind of fold up in there, but nothing major. Got the lined top up there, the little gear pouches, an LED light. Nice, well, I'll tell you what, whenever you close this thing up all the way, that black coating, it is pitch black in there. I've accidentally slept till like 11 o'clock in camp one time. Got up and I was like, man, lost half the day. But nice, fairly beefy hinge. I've heard people complaints of bending these things. I don't like, unless you got this thing in a bind or something, I don't know how you'd bend that. I mean, it's like, I don't know, at least 1/8 inch thick, might be 3/16 steel. And this middle part's double, so I've had no issues. It's doesn't have any leaks, doesn't you know, I don't have any concerns or anything with it. So got the little you had to buy this separately from Colorado 4x4, but anyways, I was gonna do a full review on this thing. Maybe try to help out with the Colorado 4x4, you know, uproar thing a little bit, and you know, show people that they're not all bad, but doesn't help them much now that they're no longer in business. So yeah, so tent works out great. Probably gonna wind up looking at some kind of small lightweight tent to add to the Jeep now that we have the twins. But yeah, the awning, I am very impressed so far. Like I said before, I'll wind up doing a, you know, after several trips with this thing, actually putting it to use, I'll do like an actual thoughts after using it video, so that you guys kind of actually get the idea of what it's like to use it. You know, give you my thoughts after some use. So I don't like, you know, pointing people in a direction to buy something unless I've used it and, you know, it's a product that I trust. So like I said, I don't do a lot of these kind of videos. This one kind of just worked out because I knew that I was just gonna buy the regular 270, and then they reached out and was like, hey, so I am not gonna turn that down. And I've got several buddies that have these and they've been super solid, so I don't have any doubt that I'm gonna like it. I've been around them multiple times and they work out great. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, be sure to leave them in the comments. Awning related, tent related, trailer related. I get a lot of comments about or, you know, questions about pulling a trailer. I know I haven't done videos on a lot of my bigger trips, but I pulled this thing all over Colorado, all through the Ozarks on those tight wooded trails and stuff, and it's got a few more dings and stuff than what it had before. But if you need to know about pulling a trailer, what it's like, or tips on pulling a trailer or whatever, let me know, because I've probably done it with this thing. It's been all over the mountain passes of Colorado, got all kinds of crazy looks and people yelling at me that I shouldn't have a trailer on a mountain pass. And my question is, why not? Because I pulled it just fine, didn't get in anybody's way. It's a huge benefit to this small mini truck size camper, or trailer camper, whatever you want to call it. It's narrow. I think this thing it's under 5 feet wide, overall to overall, whenever it's all folded up. And the wheel width, the track width, is actually narrower than my Jeep, so it makes it real nice. I built the tongue to basically, if I'm turned at a 45, the trailer tracks within where the Jeep tracks, which is really nice whenever you're on a tight wooded trail. So it makes it really easy to pull. Nice long enough tongue that you can actually back it up. And I'm actually, just because, not that I probably will ever use it pulling it with my Jeep, but I'm actually going to make a second pinhole for this back here behind the tongue, where if I'm in like a super tight spot out by myself or whatever, I can pull that pin, slide the tongue in, and it be, you know, 2.5 feet shorter than what it was, and that'll let me go in even tighter spots, because at that point I'd probably be tracking with the Jeep turned at a 90, you know, like. But yeah, it's worked out really well. I initially built this thing kind of thinking it was just going to be a you know, YouTube series, and eventually wound up selling it because the trailer wasn't really something that I had on my list. But now that I've got it and I've got the family, it just works out too good not to keep it and use it, and it gets used a lot more than I thought it was going to. So we've done a lot of trips with this thing, long trips. It makes it nice because, you know, there's lots of gear storage in there, because I've got the whole bed for totes or coolers or whatever. Before I had the fridge in the Jeep, we did the trip to Colorado and had 2 Yetis in there, a small one for drinks and stuff, and then the big one for food, and then all the gear. I'm able to carry a tote in there that has enough of every fluid for the Jeep to completely replace it. So you know, enough transmission fluid, oil, coolant, it's power steering fluid, all that stuff. Like if I lost all my fluid, I could completely replace it. So I go on long trips solo prepared for about anything, lots of spare parts and stuff. So this makes it a lot easier to do that, because I've been on several where it's just the Jeep and you got that thing crammed full if you're taking all the stuff I like to take. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions or, you know, want to see something in a little more detail, there will be leave it in the comments. There will be some future videos with this thing, kind of continuing the series. I plan on adding a 15-gallon water tank up here in the front, and then in this back corner, it's kind of a niche behind the fender well, perfect size to put a lay down 20-pound propane tank. So that's on the list. I've actually got the tank already, just got to make the mounts and stuff for it. So it'll be all outfitted. I'm gonna make a table that slides out from underneath the tent in this gap here, and right here on this side I'm gonna have a plate with like a flush mount propane and water, where I can just have my cooking stuff out here and just plug right into the propane or water right here. And then I'm going to mount a shower awning here, and it's going to be on slides at the same angle as the awning, and it'll slide out here, and then we will have the shower awning right here. And I've got a hot water heater and all that stuff already, so we'll just be able to plug into our water and have our shower out here. It'll be right under the end of this awning, which will be cool. But yeah, so may have to go with Openroad on that as well, so we'll see what happens. But the trailer itself has been awesome, super solid. Everybody questions why I left the truck axle in it. For one, I didn't see a reason not to, because these are pretty good axles for what they are, and it's not getting any load on it because, you know, it's not getting power. So I'm not going to break the axle. I am still going to go through and probably do the bearings in this axle. I did get the brakes because I figured out real quick, if you go out whenever it's like lower than 10-15 degrees outside, which I do a lot during the winter, the water crossings will really quickly freeze up your brakes, and then you're just dragging it. So luckily I carry a torch in there and was able to melt the ice out of the hubs. But yeah, so the brakes are gutted, and then I'm going to pull the ring gear out of the pinion. Hasn't been an issue yet, but I don't want to seize up the pinion bearing and, you know, be stuck out somewhere with a seized pinion bearing on a trailer that easily could have been avoided. So gonna pull that out, and yeah, like I said, I'll pull the little magnetic trailer lights off, and probably gonna just buy me some new factory taillights, since this one's broken, that one's cracked. They're stupid expensive for the factory style. You can get like cheap little LED replacement ones for these, but I'm gonna do that and probably just leave it how it is from there. So yeah, that's where the trailer's at right now. Still got quite a bit of stuff I want to do to it, but it's a lot further along than the last time you guys saw it. As far as YouTube goes, I think you guys haven't even didn't even see it with the old tent. I'll throw a picture up for you here, but it got a lot of use like that with the old tent. But yeah, huge shout out to Openroad for sending us this awning. It's going to be awesome, way better than the old one, and we do appreciate it. Definitely put it to use. So if you guys need awnings, awning like this one, the regular 270. They got the regular one that comes straight out the side. Water storage, winches, rooftop tents, recovery gear. They got a whole bunch of off-road, overland related stuff on their site. So they did give me a 10% off coupon code for you guys. It's WWW10. That'll also be down in the description. But use that at checkout on openroad.com and get you 10% off. Plus, they've also got quite a few killer deals going on right now. I was just on their site yesterday looking at a couple of other things, and they've got some killer deals right now. Huge discounts. So be sure to go check them out. And yeah, we will see you guys on the next one.